So, we're back. Good evening. Welcome to Guess What Gaming. We're chatting about the fucking humongous update that has dropped. And it's dropped like well early today. So yeah, thanks. We're joined by Evan as always, and Matt, who is the reigning WTC Wales captain.
Yeah.
How you doing, boys?
Yeah, good.
We've been waiting a while for this, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I've been waiting less time because I was expecting it to drop at like 6 PM UK time, and I think it dropped. When was it?
4 o'clock?
Like about no, it's way before then. It was like lunchtime.
We've all been on tenterhooks for a month, and our here or there is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I was just doing bits and bobs.
3 it dropped.
Quarter past, yeah. So we were expecting at 6 PM Seattle, so local time for us, I think, and yeah, it ended up being 3 hours early, which I believe was a timing misunderstanding between Swankles
East Coast,
and
West Coast thing, yeah.
Of publish it at this time, and some thinking they meant local time.
I'll take it.
Time.
I'll take it for pleasure.
Gave some extra time. So hello everyone, and full of hype. So Matt, tell us who you are first, Matt, and we will start diving into this humongous beast of an update.
Yeah, so my name's Matt. I've been Welsh team captain for 2 years and taken us to no WTCs because of COVID.
Yes.
I was on the team for 2 years before that, and I've been playing Warmachine since Mark 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm an old
Genuine grognard.
Yeah. And up until the start of COVID, I played Kador.
You only played Kador, didn't you?
Right.
I only played Kador since Mark 1.
Wow, that's a level of loyalty that none of us have managed.
Yeah, I got into the game just before Warmachine Legends was released. So pushing 15 years.
Okay.
I'm still not good at it, but I've been playing it for a long time.
Someone started whispering sweet songs of battle and shielding at you.
Yes. Well, that's why this update's like so important for me, especially because basically it got to the point where for every tournament for God knows how long, I'd taken Warriors, Wolves of Winter, and Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you had.
I'm taking Wolves of Winter, I'm playing Wolves of Winter, or I'm playing Jaws. And I've been doing that for about 18 months.
Yeah.
Since the Wolves update dropped, I'd played nothing but Wolves.
And
then it was like, well, I may as well just play Memo.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is, I think,
absolutely.
A fair surmising of how things were for some factions. Like some factions that have been like it a bit too long. Dave Ricketts, thanks for joining us for tonight. So we're gonna go. What we do is obviously there's so many things that have been updated. It's like somewhere between 700 and 800 updates. So what we're going to do is basically just blitz through the generic stuff, and then go faction by faction, and we're just going to talk about the interesting things that we feel are more impactful than others. And then we'll see. Obviously, we'll take questions from the chat. If you got a question about your faction or where you think something is, then let us know. We'll do it. Obviously, the thing is, the war room's being updated. I think on Mondays.
It's on the 25th, so yeah, Monday.
And
so
there's
myself and Dan have some games scheduled for this weekend where we're just going to have to wing it.
Yeah, our club is Mondays, so that's gonna be interesting. But obviously, there's some things that are a little bit, excuse me, that are a little bit unclear where things are changed or added to theme forces, but you're not sure if something is actually.
Are they?
Gone.
I think they've been pretty clear. The only thing that's
but there's room.
I think the only thing that's a little confusing is they haven't taken out any of the UA options that may have been 6 points.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that could be a little unclear.
Well, we'll see how it goes, I think. But
can tell I'm a Mark II baby. I still call them UAs, but anyway.
Yeah, UAs for sure.
So, CAs, isn't it? CAs now.
It's CAs now. Yeah.
It's all right.
One of these days I'll learn.
When we were having spoilers fed to us by PP yesterday, one of them included how the UA cost has gone down, so it's not just us, right? if they're doing it themselves, then we cannot be blamed.
I love it.
So I should say, yeah. So I should say as well before we go on, big thanks to both Faye and Lauren for chatting to us over the last couple of months, and then we've done a lot more this week to sort out basically being able to feed out a few spoilers for various things. I got to ask basically a load of questions yesterday, and as time permitted, I'd get the answers back of what was updated about that model. So yeah, so thanks very much. And if you enjoyed,
thank you very much, ladies. Much appreciated.
I know like a bunch of other podcasts and channels have had the same. So that's been a really like feels like a good step up in like communication with the community sort of content creators to help drive the hype behind this. So hopefully it's worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a couple of like generic things first, which we've seen already, right? So the shield wall. I think the shield wall thing is pretty impactful.
So the shield,
it affects a lot of stuff, right? So just quickly in case you haven't caught it. So shield wall is, as I had before, +4 arm when you're base to base with another affected model in the unit. What now it includes is when receiving this order, you can forfeit your combat action per model for +3 movement as part of your normal movement. So you can basically,
and there's a whole lot of weird wording there that just says when you've got mini feats like Iron Fangs and piggybacks and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All the weird wording, all it really means is you can't double dip. You're either going to sacrifice your action for 3 inches extra, or you're going to get your mini feat. You're not going to get both.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about trying to pass the wording. That's all it does.
Does the piggyback one work? Because the piggyback one is just repo at the end, right? And it clears
it's exactly
your order.
the same as the iron. It's the same as the Iron Fang. It's exactly the same wording. In fact, I think it's the same. I think it's the same name of the rule.
So we've
it's
got
the
that.
same rule.
We got that, which is cool. Makes obviously just generic shield wall units more effective at getting up the table, and we know that's been an important thing in the current.
So here's a question I want to kind of, if not answer right away, at least kind of have in everyone's mind as we're chatting about this. Yeah. One of the, and to me the most exciting and the biggest part of this whole update that was announced a month ago when they first told us it was happening, the original insider, was talking about getting infantry back on the table.
Yeah.
Now, in a fit of optimism, I read that to be single wound infantry. Which is why you're going to hear me grumbling a whole lot over the next 2 hours.
I think you'd convince me the same as well, that it was single wound.
Yeah, and it's absolutely why I'm going to be very grumbly, because I'm not letting go of that, even though maybe that's not fair.
Yeah, having got over it, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think there's enough to encourage it, or rather, there's enough to encourage it, but there's also like an overwhelming thing to also shit all over it.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, it's like, have more infantry, but also this stuff that's also been buffed is just going to eat it all in a second.
So the reason I bring that up now is this is like the biggest push towards making both single wound and shield wall medium infantry more playable.
Yeah.
Like it's not a small thing. It really isn't, and especially when you're going second. Like when you're going first, it's not that much of a big deal. When you're going second, not being able to get enough board space with your shield wall because you have to walk in shield wall is a really big deal.
Yeah.
So I love this one. This is hopefully one of the more impactful changes.
Yeah.
If we see infantry on the field.
I think so. Yeah.
Back when I used to play Legion of Steel. Like if you went second, first turn, you'd defensive move and repo up the board. It was the only way you could get up the board.
You had to get there in the first place, Crab Wizard, thanks for the follow. Crab Wizard.
So, I mean, I kept trying to hold on to it with piggybacks, but I got to tell you, it didn't give me a whole lot of success.
Yeah. So we'll jump through the next few. It's basically the Shield Guard buff change, which is you can Shield Guard a shot once. Same as you could sack pawn a shot once.
Yeah.
So there's no chaining them anymore. You can't divert a shot into a different area to trigger vengeance on something or to for whatever means.
Yeah.
It's just it has that shot been shield guarded. Yes, you can't do it again. But you can chain them together. So you can shield guard and sack pawn, but only once each.
I like this change, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Because I don't feel like the chaining shield guards, etc., was ever a tactical thing. It was that felt like a gotcha to me. That was a gotcha rule.
Yeah,
and
I think so. Yeah.
I think killing that is great.
Yeah, I think if you were an experienced player, you could basically know that you could shut down a less experienced player who, for instance, brought Scythe. You shield guard the first shot out of range for 3 inches, and suddenly Scythe is flapping in the wind and hasn't got to shoot anything that she wants to. And that's just down to the experience of the players rather than the rules on the card. So yeah,
I mean, you can still do that with a single one, but
it's
more if you could trigger a vengeance that someone thought they would protect. That's a big one.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that to multifier anymore because multifier's gone.
Multifier's gone. Yeah. So
multifier's gone.
Just
which
is fair. It doesn't need to be in the rules, to be fair.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm surprised they haven't done with Shield Guard, I think we talked about this week, is they haven't. I would 100% have gone with you can only use like the abilities like this if you're in formation. Same as you can only be targeted by a friendly spell or by a spell in formation, so you don't get things like precursors and lost souls where the one battle priest from one unit is stood in the middle of another unit and out of formation, and vice versa. So they're basically there.
I've never seen anyone do that. Okay, I've never seen that.
So again, then right, that's like if you're playing against more experienced players who are really like running the best options in Flames. That's what you can often see. So you'll have like your Manite Archon in amongst one of the units, and then they'll have swapped at least one of their battle priests, and they'll be there just to trigger vengeance on. So
that's irritating.
So you shoot into the one unit, and they basically go, "Oh well, we'll have vengeance on these guys too." Just because this guy
you'll trigger vengeance on both of them, and okay.
So good tactical thing, but obviously again, it's like more of a player experience thing. I think that kind of should go as well. I think that's a bit of an exploit, right? Where things outside of formation
shouldn't be one of the gotchas. Yeah,
you shouldn't benefit. Like if you can't cast like a spell on one of your guys in formation, for instance, without formation, you shouldn't be able to benefit from their other abilities as well. There should be like a blanket rule in my mind that basically says if you're out of formation, you can't basically use your abilities.
Yeah. I mean, you can't make a free strike. Why can you shield guard? No, perfectly reasonable.
Makes sense. So we'll go on to the actual faction updates. Signar. So Signar seemed to have a lot.
Signar did pretty well.
But Signar have been quite low down for a while, so I can understand why.
So they are, but there is proof positive that they absolutely fucked up the Signar update. If you scroll down, you will find Captain Victoria Haley, and you will find a buff next to the name Haley.
You'll see.
And
all three Haleys have had a buff, right?
There is, but this is an actual buff to an ability.
Yeah.
And there is no document in the history of man that ends well that started by buffing Haley.
One thing I found quite funny about that though is that they increased the Warjack points of Haley 2 and Haley 3. But they haven't given Haley one's Warjack point back that she lost a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
She lost it in a drip feed, like one a year for like 3 years, didn't she?
Yeah,
or like one every 6 months.
Yeah, she just lost a Warjack point. I blame an intern for picking the wrong Haley, but she still lost it.
We've basically seen that this update is Temporal Barrier on Haley 1's gone back to being control. I think.
Yeah, that's a big deal. A Temporal Barrier is a feat level spell. Like that is just so strong.
And then Major Prime Victoria Haley. That's Haley 2, right? So Haley 2 just gone up in Warjack points.
No. Major Prime is Haley 3.
3. Okay, right. So Haley 2 has gone up by 4 Warjack
Haley
points.
2 took a lot of Warjack points up. She got quite a
big.
That was quite
big chunk. And then force field. The force field thing is basically just blast resistance rather than immunity, which is in line with a lot of other stuff. They've all had something, which is not.
So the only really significant change is, I think, are gun mages.
Yeah, so gun
which
mages
have had a really significant change.
Yeah. I think obviously as we said, like there's a lot of points updates. We can tell you X has gone down a point or 2 points.
No,
or 3
that's
all night long. So yeah,
no.
well I'll stick a link in the show notes.
If we do faction deep dives, we'll go into that
forever.
level of detail. But
yeah. But yeah. So if you want to see the points changes, have a look. I'll stick it in the show notes if you haven't already seen it. But we're going to talk about the things that are impactful. So like
impactful to me, the biggest one is obviously the gun mages.
Yeah.
So the gun mages took a. So what happened with them is anyone who doesn't shoot can buff another gun mage in the unit. Only one gun mage.
Yeah. Just basically gives them some importance, right?
Yeah.
Is it Science Importance? No, it's just an additional dice.
Additional?
No, yes, discard, Science Importance.
Then,
Science Importance.
Yeah, but it's also you choose the one you drop as well.
You choose... Oh, right, which is...
So
that's even better.
For your crit brutals, for instance.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your crit brutals are going to love that shit.
Yeah. Because if you roll like 5, 5, 6, obviously you'd have to...
You just keep the double 5,
But now you can drop the 6 and get the crit.
And then get the extra damage. And that's been changed. A bunch of models have had it added. Like Sloan's got it. Kane didn't have it before, right? So Captain Alistair Kane's now got it.
The gun mage special rule?
The gun mage rule generally,
tag,
which gives them Pistolier, so boosted damage roll on a charge if you're... I believe.
Which is neat.
Which is nice as well. Imagine him gatecrashing into people and just destroying heavies. What else? Sturgis has changed.
What's interesting is Sturgis 1 and 2 now have the same feat. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. So Sturgis lost convection, which was like forever known as like the shittiest nuke, and has got positive charge, which is really fucking good.
It's much stronger.
Like, I would happily be there, going, yes, give me positive charge.
Yes.
So that's really cool. And then
he's still stealing spells off Striker though.
Yeah,
that's fair. But like the other changes, I think are very much what we'll see across the whole document, where people have lost locomotion and had it swapped to Energizer. I think there's some other things that we'll see sort of mimicked. There's no one.
So one of my most hated ones is Force Field. You'll see Force Field and Force Barrier have both been dropped and have picked up
the
this rule
resistance.
that I'm going to spit every time I hear.
Spot the Stixis fan in the room.
Pretty much.
But
spot the person who was looking for single wood infantry to be more valuable and saw the big change that made them less viable.
My adjudicator approves of these changes.
I'm sure he does, because the adjudicator wasn't toxic enough for single wood infantry to start with.
Sometimes they could live.
No, they could not.
So that's the main stuff with Signar and their casters. There's no notable missing. There's none of the new mechanic that a bunch of casters have picked up, where if they kill a model, they get to Signar's missing that.
Synergistic Magic.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then
it's a risky one.
Yeah, so I think they're one of the few factions that hasn't got that in one of the casters. And then basically their Jack updates are just a wall of text of people getting of just models getting cheaper. Dynamo is probably the most interesting, where he loses modifier and just gets a flat rate of fire 3, which is really fucking good. Like Dynamo is good.
Very good.
Dynamo is good anyway, and you basically counter him by doing the whole shield guard the first shot trick. And now he just shoots. It's like fair play.
I'm sure every now and then some people get annoyed because it means you don't have the tactical option to stop it now.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have that tactical option, in a lot of cases you're losing one rate of fire from multi-fire. I think it's a fair reliability change. I like it when I think this is pretty standard. I don't think multiplier is left in the game.
No, yes,
Nope.
yeah. So everyone that had multiplier has just had their rate of fire increased instead.
I think they've all gone to 3 as well.
Yes, they've gone to 3 where multiplier could get you 4.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
So-
me that had it. It's like Dynamo, Scythe. I'm not actually sure if there's anyone else. Not off the top of my head.
I think weren't there a couple of Merc solos like Harlow or
And
Harlow would rate
Harlem
fire
had
2.
Harlem had rate by
no.
2 and 2 pistols, so he shot 4
no,
times.
sorry, not Harlow. There was an Harlan Versh.
Maybe.
Uh,
Maybe a multiplier?
No, I think was he changed at the start of Mark 3 to D3 or something?
Oh, it may have been.
not sure.
Okay,
I think he had it in Mark 2.
Yeah.
right.
But other like Jack changes, I'm surprised that the Stormwall and the Hurricane have gone down. They're pretty decent Colossals, and they're now 33 for Hurricane, 34 for Stormwall. So I'm quite surprised that they've gone down. But there's a big old.
1 and 2 point changes to 30-point models, I find it hard to give a damn. A 2-point change to an 8-point model is significant. 2-point change to a Hurricane is like, seriously?
I'm
care?
surprised at Thorn as well. So Thorn has gone down by 2
Thorn
points
was
to 11.
surprising.
And Thorn is just if you're playing Haley, you have Thorn.
You're playing Thorn. Why wouldn't you?
So there's no
for the
need
Blessing
to
of
make
Vengeance as well.
Yeah, there's no need to be cheaper on Thorn, but yeah, well, it is what it is. And then the rest of the faction stuff is very much force barriers and like quality of life changes, like the stand within 1 inch if you're a gunner. And a big chunk though is just generic cheaper infantry though, from solos to units.
Yeah, but they're fairly small changes. Like the only one I'm just scrolling through to highlight anything that's significant. Basically, versions of long gunners got a slightly bigger decrease, and everything else is
long gunners rather than
ignore.
Trench long gunners, right? I know
Both
long gunners.
Both of them actually.
Yeah, but
Both of them
there's no reason
trench
to ever
long
take
gunners
long gunners when you've got trench long gunners. But,
Oh, absolutely. It's just pointless.
yeah, so it's a bit weird,
There is no good reason.
So that's I think a missed trick there. Could have been some sort of update.
Yeah,
to
you could have
define them
done
a little bit
something
more.
to give you a real choice between the
Yeah,
two.
just like tweak them slightly so that the one has a more obvious lean than the other, or is more
There's a
durable.
it's a 2-point premium to get to get trenches, and why the hell would you not pay those points?
Yeah, maybe like standard long gunners because they're just not as good. Maybe they've just like always got 4 up tough or something, and they're just like the chaff gunners.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway,
They are 13 points per unit now, so it's
Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you'd pay the extra 2 for like such a jump up between long gunners and trench long gunners. So on to Menoth. Menoth, I think Menoth are amongst the winners. So obviously beforehand,
Menoth came out well.
yeah. So beforehand we saw that there was a couple of changes, like initiates being dropped from the requisition options, but that was expected. That's in line with all the other 7-point options being dropped. So that's not like
Yes.
it's just sort of punishing Menoth, for instance.
I mean, that's something that they were probably the reason for that change to requisitions.
Quite possibly. But they've got some juicy changes.
There's a lot
Fioras
of
have
casting
changed.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thyra is golden right now.
Thyra's got a lot of
We need to talk in depth about Thyra.
God.
You're a Menoth player, Matt. You take Thyra away.
Oh god, I've never actually played Thyra.
Really?
She was before my time.
You could.
Oh
you could
wow!
Yeah, but
I've played turnaround games with Thyra. She's amazing.
Be now.
yeah, but
Terry should come and join us on Twitch, I bet.
yeah, but yeah, like the ability to teleport, not being attacked by like any models while within 3 inches of another quarter.
That's like what the fuck level
Blend
of
in.
buff.
That is spicy. Synergistic Magic, because she's only focus 6,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she will get work done.
Yes.
And we're going to get back to them as well. But Daughters got a really big buff. I could see people playing Daughters again.
yeah.
We'll get to them shortly.
Yeah.
So Sorry, I think people will try them. I don't know if I guarantee. Yeah, but her stock has shot through the roof.
I think she's gone to potentially like one of the top casters in the faction now. She's going to see some significant table time.
So I've been looking at Malachus. Like Malachus has gone straight up as well.
Yeah,
really.
Open fire being a
open fire
spell.
One.
And then
the Eye of... Yeah,
and then a lot of the stuff he takes has all become cheaper as well, or has had slight tweaks and slight buffs.
the Eye of Truth has gone down by 3 points.
Testament Raise the Dead. Is Raise the Dead Testament's feat?
No, it's his spell. It's his 2-cost Raise the Dead spell.
Okay,
it used to be you had to forfeit your combat action. Now you can either forfeit movement or combat action.
Ah, right. Okay, it's a buff. Cool.
It's a good buff because you can spawn dead knights in melee, and have them whack-a-mole.
Yeah, that's solid.
So that's pretty good.
Lewis, I've just turned up. Let me know if my volume's a bit better. Apparently I need to turn myself up compared to you, Pen. Yeah, I think there's a lot of nice changes that Melf have had. They're looking meaty for sure.
Yeah, they're in a good place there. Blend, oh my god.
Yeah, blend is just ridiculous. If you haven't seen it already, blend in, which the higher is gained, is you have a type to go with it. So it's blended in Daughters of the Flame, and this model cannot be targeted by attacks, charges, or slams while there's one or more other friendly Daughters of the Flame model within 3 inch.
Within 3, you can't charge her. Come on, that is not okay.
So she's basically got a feat level ability as long as there's some
it's not even an upkeep. You can't purify this shit.
Yeah, you
nothing.
can't really. You just gotta.
Yeah,
man.
And obviously, so she could
I love it.
So she could just stand in the open, like, and have a Daughter of the Flame like tucked behind a building or a cloud or whatever.
And for people who haven't played with Thyra before, Thyra is close to the perfect caster because she's got everything a caster needs to be successful. She's got an accuracy buff for her army. She's got a damage buff for her army. So she's got an accuracy buff in Carnage.
Yeah.
She has a damage buff in Silence of Death that also denies tough because why not? She has Stranglehold, which is one of the strongest spells in the game, and she barely ever casts it because she's got so many good options.
Yeah.
And then just for the hell of it, now she's got Teleport. Basically, the only thing wasted on a card is Occultation because Occultation is useless nowadays. And even then, still not completely useless. She's got a Threatic. She herself, no, she's got Acrobatics. She doesn't have Sprint, but Gates of Death gives her a 5-inch teleport after her turn's activated.
So if you haven't,
and she's got a Threat Extender in her feet. She literally brings virtually everything a caster could ever want. The only thing she doesn't have is delivery, and now she's just gotten a really big buff.
Even in Welsh,
her Wardrack's pretty good as well. Blood of Martyrs.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So if you haven't picked it up as well, the way Synergistic Magic works is you gain powered tokens. So it's not you gain a token; it's the more models she kills. So like if you go into her army and she gets to acrobatics and bound over everything and kill a bunch of infantry you put in the way, she gets a token for everyone she kills, and then she can spend those to cast upkeep spells. So,
and upkeep them as well.
Yeah. So 6 focus. If she can go, I'm gonna dive over my wall of whatever's in front of me, clear out the stuff so my guys can go forward, and then Gates of Death back. So sidestep off the last attack, and then Gates of Death. So she's now 7 inches further back than the last thing she hit, and safe, sat on however many focus she's cleared out. It's like, That's legit.
And within 3 inches of a daughter.
Yeah, yeah. It's go like, what are you gonna do for her? It's like she's fucking good.
Stay away from sprays.
She is so scary right now.
I'd be tempted to look at Meloth just on.
I mean,
for her.
if I were playing Meloth, I'd go straight to Thyroid. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Like that is not even a question.
Especially when so many Meloth players have basically been playing Harby Cyrenia. Done.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been some variation. Some people have been putting Malachus. Some people have put Sevian. But generally, your competitive list has been Harby Cyrenia. People want to change, right? And this is as
wanting.
You've been eating. Yeah, you've been swapping between McDonald's and Burger King for the last 3 years, and suddenly here's a fucking Michelin star restaurant with a prime steak on the table, going, "Would you like to try?" What's his name? Salt Bay is there with his gold fucking plated ribeye steak for 20 grand or whatever. Going, "Would you like a sample?"
If all of that wasn't tempting enough, she wants Daughters of the Flame. Daughters just picked up Repo 5.
Yeah.
Like that's not small. They picked up Repo 5.
Yeah, and a 2-point drop.
And and a significant points drop. So, I don't know if that will be, the new thing to arrive. I don't know if that single wound infantry is going to see the other side of the table.
Yeah.
But I think you'd be silly not to give it some table time and try right now.
Thanks, Leo, for the gift, and Dom for subscribing. But go on, boys.
But also, I think Flamebringers are now Daughters of the Flame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nicaea is now a Daughter of the Flame.
Yeah, Nicaea's been quite nice.
Nicaea, she's now a Daughter of the Flame. Keyword blast resistance, Elite Cadre, blast resistance. The Daughters of the Flame can all become blast resistant as well, including Thyra.
Yeah.
Yes, and blast resistance would be great if Daughters weren't armor 8 or 7. I think they're 11. I'm doing them in, but whatever it is,
the
it's
blast
terrible.
resistance over immunity, I think, is a little bit. I think they needed to have like some sort of nuance there, where they go, like for instance, if like they're giving it to Nis or they're giving it to like Daughters or things.
They're armor 12.
Yeah, they're the things that really need it to be immunity, and then some models that have it could have the resistance and be fine with it. Good cat, thanks for the sub as well, much appreciated. We're going to harp on about that a few times. I think there should have been.
We'll come back to that. That's a rich area.
I think maybe like a little split where they went like these are the heavier infantry that can take it, or they could have just gone like if these infantry have got access to it, but they're lighter infantry that it's not going to protect. They keep blast immunity, and things like Iron Flesh where you can just hand it out to anyone. Rather than being immunity gives resistance, and that makes it a bit of a more nuance then.
So there's an interesting question. So I'm obviously quite keen on the Daughters side. I like my squishy infantry. But do Temple Flame Gods light any sort of interest in you right now, Matt, considering the change to Shield Guard?
Maybe.
They've got. Go on, Matt. I'll come back in a second with my first game against Malachus I ever played. But you go first, because it involved a lot of these.
So, obviously they're cheaper, a little bit cheaper, because the UA has become cheaper.
Yeah,
and they got Relentless Charge, pretty good, and now
they've got plus one power.
Yeah, and Rapid Strike.
They got Rapid Strike, or was that the
UA gives Pyrrhus gives it out. He's got leadership, Rapid Strike, instead of whatever he had before. I've never looked at whatever he had before. What did he have before?
Okay, so
they're a bit better, but
do you think they'll be able to cross the table? Is my question.
Yeah. So they got Iron Zeal, haven't they? What are they? 15 normally.
Yeah, let's take a look at Temple Flame Guard.
I think
you get to armor 21. Now you can shield march them.
They're base 13. So you shield guard to 17, so you can Iron Zeal. Is Iron Zeal 3 or 4?
It's 3 now. Yeah.
Is it 3?
So
they get to 20.
That's okay. You got to put in.
I mean, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's enough.
I mean, if you whap silence
he's
death on
going to
them,
buy them for the fun.
yeah, if you whap silence of death on the unit, they're power 14.
Do they have vengeance?
Pretty
as well?
good.
I mean,
Or do they get vengeance from something?
getting damage out of infantry has never been hard. It's getting them across the table, like the massive lack of success Crix has had over the last 4 years for exactly that.
Yeah. But I know I first faced Temple Flame Guard at Firestorm Games. We were doing we had a practice day like the day before. I think it was like the day before we went out to WTC, and I was looking for some Harvey practice, and one of the guys local to Cardiff.
Oh God!
I rocked up. He had his Harvey list, and I must have been playing Crimkin, right? I think, yeah. And I was like, I want some more Harvey practice. And
but the defense 15 into Harvey.
Well, yeah. Instead of the Harvey practice I expected to have, he dropped bloody the burning potato Malachus with like two max units of Flame Guard and like all of the extra like little dudes you could jam in. And I think they had vengeance from something as well. And it was just like so many idiotic dudes to try and shoot
those
through.
Flame Guard are actually really interesting. You stick a Menite Archon behind them. They've got set defense, so they can now set themselves up at armor 20. If you don't charge, you can't crack armor 20. If you do charge, you're cracking defense 17.
Yeah,
I think there's a case to be made for them in the game.
If you bring them with
surviving
Malachus, like Malachus can give them Ashen Veil.
yeah, he just gives them Ashen.
I mean that's the same effect if you just stick a what's it called behind them. Menite Archon. So, same story.
I'm surprised that one of the things I am surprised at, I was surprised that some of the bigger boys, the medium-based infantry, haven't seen more.
I was expecting to see some love for Bastions
gone down by 1 and Incinerators haven't been touched at all.
I was expecting more help for them.
I thought there'd be like a significant reduction because you just don't see them.
No.
Rather than like little tweaks to a lot of the other stuff, which is fine. But I expected.
I used to see Zealots so often. I haven't seen them in like 5 years.
I think.
I mean, Zealots have gotten a bit better because now they can have additional die to hit, dropping the lowest against fire attacks.
So
I was hoping Exemplar introduction could get a bit better.
Lewis is saying he's happy with the Exemplar changes. Is like the Errants and the Vengers in?
I don't see Exemplars going back on the table.
So it doesn't stop the problem Exemplars have of if you have a gun, you will kill an Exemplar at range.
Yeah, that's it.
Because they're all defense 11 or they're defense 12.
And they're not fast enough to stop you just separating the front line off everything.
Yeah, I dropped Bastions into Nemo 4 on the weekend, and he shot me twice and took out 4 Bastions.
Yeah, there you go.
So
just
ouchie.
So it's. And that was with Cyrenia as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Incinerators are pretty good.
How does Cyrenia change? Because obviously there's a bunch of points reduction. So if you're playing Cyrenia list and actually trying to run it for like the reason she was built, right, which is to make the Exemplar stuff sing, does the amount of points you save just mean you can take like an extra unit essentially, right? So because you'll be saving money. Most of the jacks you're going to be taking, you'll be getting some points back. The units you'll be taking, you'll be getting points back.
So, no, not really, because Cyrenia normally has 2 dervishes, a sanctifier, and avatar.
Yeah.
As her battle group and avatar. Avatar stayed the same, but his gaze has gotten better. You can't vengeance out of it. You now have to always move towards him. The Sanctifier, the Sanctifier's got Hand of Fate. It can spend souls to gain Hand of Fate. That's really good.
That's an actual buff, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. But the Dervish should stay the same price, and they've all the same price.
I'm quite surprised because Sanctifiers were being taken, right? So Sanctifiers, for instance, Sanctifiers and Inditers are being taken, and one's gone down in points, and one's had a really nice buff put on it, rather than sticking it
Yeah,
on
but
things
like
that aren't.
it's across the board. Like all the points have gone down.
Yeah, a lot's gone down. Yeah.
Yeah, Eye of Truth went down by 3, which was
That's
huge.
a big one.
The Devout has
really
gone down
good.
by 2. So, and that I think that's quite big when the Devout has gone down to 7 points rather than 9. So now you can play a Mon with like 15 Devoutes and just have a load of fun.
I'm not sure I would take like that many Devouts over like Dervishes, for instance. But you know,
and they fixed the Castigator as well. Now it's got chain attack combustion, whereas before it was a special attack.
Yeah, and
that's
okay.
super big. Because previously you couldn't charge. You couldn't charge and do combustion. You couldn't trample and do combustion. It was you had to walk 5 and fart 2 inches.
And yeah, it'd be really sad. But yeah. So Menoth, what do we think then? As a Menoth player, so Lewis in the chat is basically saying, you know, in the context, you know, of like a broad look at things, a lot of the points of a lot of the stuff that you're going to be running has all got cheaper, and you got a lot more because of that, a lot more viable lists. Then you're not stuck in Faithful Masses because you feel obliged to take the initiates. So that opens up everything, and then you've got some nice actual buffs and a big chunk of cheaper models. Seems Menoth are in like the win category for the update. Yeah,
it's
well, I think so.
Yeah.
And the stuff that Menoth didn't like to see has gone. Like the stuff that Menoth were like, it's like you Death Archons. They're much better.
Yeah.
Strange Bedfellows has been kicked, like, I don't know, into the ground. Yeah. I think someone counted like 10 different hits to Strange Bedfellows.
It's not.
And yet I still don't think it's not. I still think it's viable.
We'll come to it.
I don't think that later.
I don't think it's curb stomping, but it's viable.
As the example, I think my Aurora 2 list is now 4 points more expensive, which was basically like my flex. My flex support, and my Aurora 1 list has got more points, so I'll get some extra stuff with the Aurora 1.
So this is what I was saying. The points are just going to circle around a little bit. It's not going to make a big difference.
Little bit, but we'll.
I thought didn't you take like a load of angels in your SBF lists?
Yes, and you can't take them for free, but that's fine because instead of taking 3 units of negation angels for free, for instance, I just take the Colliery, the Shrike, and Hypatia for free instead. Who basically equate to like losing a couple of points, if that.
Yeah,
it's trivial. It's just a trivial bit of list jankery. Doesn't. Yeah, it feels a little like having talked about it when it hit. I first of all was like, ooh, and then me and Evan talked about it, and it was like, actually, is this just like is that change of not being able to take the angels a little bit of
it's a red herring.
A little bit of a take this pill. It'll make it all better, and you're just being fed skills. You know, who knows? But yeah, Rich is saying not everything is cheaper though. Still, so yeah, that is a good point. There's a lot of the things that are being played, like Doom Reavers and like Angels, that aren't seeing a point reduction.
So I mean that's true, and maybe I'm being a little bit too blasé about that. I'm kind of ignoring most of the points decreases because there's so many of them. And that's that's a fair criticism that maybe I'm being unfair. But there's so many. Fuck it, I'm running with that.
I think that's the balance though, right? So you go, for instance, Doom Reavers aren't getting any cheaper, but all this other stuff in my faction and the stuff that's going to run against my faction is cheaper. Which essentially makes.
If you're playing into Doom Reavers, you genuinely now have more. You're doing better off. So that's fair.
Yeah, I think generally balance has stepped forward in the right direction. So let's talking about balance. Let's go to Matt's second, or Matt's original love, I guess. K-Door.
Yeah, K-Door.
Yeah.
I think these are another.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I think these are the biggest winners of this update.
Yeah, as factions to be playing. If you play 2 factions, Matt plays K-Door and Menoth.
This is a good day for you.
You've done pretty good. Like, I play Convergence and Grimkin, and I've seen like hardly anything change. So,
K-Door's in a decent spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, decent spot. So,
You've got some
a lot of the iron
huge points increases
Drop.
for the war drop points for your casters.
Yeah.
Like,
So
big.
I'll go with the negative first, and the big one is the iron flesh change.
yeah, that's
solid
like
ground.
on so many casters.
Yeah.
But because Butcher's lost it, Sorcerer 2 has lost it, Ursk 2 has lost it because
Yep.
Chosen Ground has become last resistance.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it for the negatives. That's it.
We're done.
Everything
Lewis-
else is
gravy.
Lewis-
the
Lewis in the chat.
Soviet tanks are coming through Europe.
Yeah, seems right.
Oh, yeah.
Lewis in the
once
chat.
more.
We'll come back to the drags change for Cock and Grimkin. I don't think it makes a difference to Cock because the Axiom could drag you anyway because it auto damages you.
Axiom could auto damage anyway, so it made no
but,
difference.
but
Fine.
we'll get to it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, K-Dot.
But
So-
yeah, it's like Strakov has got 5 more Warjack points.
5 Warjack
That's
points.
a lot, eh?
Yeah.
What is that about?
Old Witch
Not missing.
1 has got 6 more. She's up to 24.
6. Okay, look. To be
Yeah.
fair, she should never have been at 18.
No,
like
she should
that's
never
a
be at
bloody
18.
time.
Yeah, she was
Come
way
on.
back. Yeah. But she's
Yeah.
she's definitely got like a place.
Eldritch
I know
2 got another 2. Why is Eldritch 2 getting more points?
because
God, she got hit with the windstorm.
Yeah,
She
winds-
changed, didn't she?
you gotta-
Oh no, the awful windstorm nerf to her
Yeah.
18-inch windstorm.
you can't just punish people. You have to give them a little bit of love back. You know, slap them in the face and then give them a kiss or however you say it. Oh wait, thanks for the like, buddy. Nice to join you. But,
The biggest
what
ones
else?
for the casters are Malakov and maybe Sorcerer 3. Malakov is oof.
Oh, Butcher 2.
Yeah, but you're still playing Butcher 2. I love Butcher 2.
He's.
I'm like undefeated with Butcher 2.
I mean, Grant, look, the meta isn't really set up to play Butcher 2, but oh man, he got interesting. I'll give him that much.
Yeah.
If we do see a return to infantry, he's gonna have a field day.
Yeah. I've had like semi success running him with Jaws of the Wolf because you can have like fix his focus problems.
Yeah.
By bringing
Right.
all the juniors and bring in the Forge Seers.
Well,
So it's a
replacing
lot
the
better.
D6 with 2D3 gives him a little bit more stability.
Yeah.
And Reckless Arcana means he can cast spells even when he rolls like shit.
As long as
That's-
something else kills
That's
something.
nice.
But,
So if you haven't seen it, this is a new thing that he's gained. So Reckless Arcana is once per turn when a model in this model's battle group destroys one or more enemy models with a melee attack. Immediately after the attack's resolved, this model, so Butcher, can cast a spell with a cost of 3 or less without spending focus. So basically, it's Blood Boon, but for your jacks killing
From
something
your
in
battle
melee.
group.
yeah, from the
Uh,
battle.
yeah.
Which is really cool. Yeah, your battle
It's
group.
only,
specifically.
Now,
melee, but
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, now Butcher 2 has a spell called Eliminator. And it's a range 8, power 13, AoE 3, and for every model destroyed by the spell, you get to make a 2-inch move.
Okay. The
So-
odds of you getting much use out of that are low, but damn, it's cool if you do.
It's cool if you do. You got Boundless Charge, Fury. He's only got
some-
2 cost spells. But
Yeah, he's got some options there, though.
he's thing.
I mean, every Kato caster has Boundless Charge because Sorcerer 0 exists. But yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about Sorcerer 3 gets irregulars for Man of War, which is really cool. So obviously she's like the
That's
big
nice. Yeah,
the big
I do
poster
like
girl for
that.
Man of War. Actually, you can always take them. So that's a nice it's a nice like thematic
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. And Man of War are now stupid cheap.
Yeah.
A unit of demo core is 12 points. Like,
Seems okay.
unit of cost, we'll get to cost rates later, but that's just fucking nuts.
So yeah, caster wise, apart from the Iron Flesh and Solid Ground changes, which are like every other K-Dot caster basically. They seem alright. Like the changes are a couple of big ones, but mostly like nice little tweaks.
I think it's worth talking about Malakov though, with
Malakov.
Discombobulate.
Oh yes, that's a
Which-
fun one.
That is a interesting spell. That's a very interesting
Especially
spell.
once we look at how Cossacks have changed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Discombobulate, range cost 2, range 10. Both the front arc and back arc of the target model or unit is treated as its back arc.
Yeah.
So you lose countercharge, lose polarity field, you lose shield wall.
Will you lose countercharge?
Yes, because it's your back arc.
It says front arc, not line of sight. The big thing is, you're losing shield wall, you're losing shields, you're losing bucklers, and anyone with backstab is going to have a field day. If you can you take crows in Kador?
Yes. I believe
crows
you
cut
can.
Crows, cutthroats, and because I've spoiled it already, Cossite woodsmen are picking up backstab.
Yeah, they are.
So not only can ambushing guns with backstab, and he can just make the front there.
Malakov can give one of his units backstab as well.
Yeah, he's got the battle plan to give a backstab.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
So,
wow.
Maybe give your unit of Doom Reavers backstab, and then cast that on something.
Yeah.
Can you go?
He's battle plan, range 5, target friendly model faction unit, gains backstab.
Seems okay.
Okay.
There's definitely some models that will love this.
Yeah.
You use that with Man of War Demo Corps, because they've got Shatter.
Oh, sheesh. Yeah.
So you go for the crit stationary.
Yeah.
And bonk Cossites. Because they have backstab.
It's so good.
Other stuff like Kayaze Eliminators, Kayaze...
There's honestly nothing that can't make good use of it. It's just where do you make the best
anything
use of it.
would love backstab, and having your ass on your front.
Free backstab is +2 to hit, plus an extra dice to hit, plus an extra dice damage.
Yeah.
Just done. Why would you ever?
Yeah.
And you're ignoring shields and.
Let's quickly cover the ability. So in the chat, Rich is saying you don't lose your front arc though; it just counts as your back arc. But you may as well. So the spell says that I'm looking for where it's gone again. So both the front arc and back arc of the model or unit is now treated as a back arc. So basically, you have a 360 back arc.
It might as well be the same.
Your front arc now counts as if it was your back arc. So you do lose things like counter slam, counter charge, shields, shield wall. It's a
for all intents and purposes, you got 360 back arc.
Yeah. It's a really nice spell. Especially when you know you've already got some stuff with
so good,
and you can just deliver something with backstab. It's pretty cool.
Because I don't think you can give it to Warjacks, but you can give it to anything apart from that.
I've got it. It is
Warrior model.
So stick it on Fenris or
Doom Reavers.
It's friendly faction, so it's got to be. It can't be. So you brought along like a Death Archon, which is something, I guess.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you can't stick fucking what's his name onto Death Archon to give it Zephyr and then have this friendly faction.
You could stick it on like if you're playing Infernals, like Howlers.
Yeah.
Howlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you playing Howlers?
Oh right, is Malakov Hearts of Darkness?
Malakov is the traitor. Yeah.
Damn, I could do that. That would, jeez.
Yeah, we've made your evening now.
There you go.
Well, I don't know if I go that far, but
so
Heart of Darkness might be useful. That's interesting. Okay.
His battle plans, if you haven't seen him, is fighting dirty, which is only affects a model, friendly warrior model. And then their first basic attack becomes a knockdown, just knocks you down, which is pretty legit. Sneak, which just gives out prowl to a unit or model, and then obviously the throat cutter, which is they give backstab to a model or unit. Which is
he can put him on himself, can't he?
Yeah. So he can just give himself prowl
backstab
or backstab. Yeah. He's not like the best fighter, right? Especially Matt said, but he's power 12 on his own.
Yeah, but power 12 weapon master with backstab.
Yeah. I'd rather it on someone else though, right?
Yeah. Oh, and his open fire spell's now down to cost 1.
Down to cost 1.
He's got open fire as well.
So,
which is nice across the board. So so Kador casters definitely. So much as we had Thyra was like the golden Melite caster, I think Malakov might be the the viewer's choice for Kador.
I actually have
You want to
Malakov.
play with.
So, yeah.
But
Now I
I
can play
mean,
Malakov.
I'd like to move us past the casters because I honestly think the casters are the least impressive of the buffs Kador have got, and move on
Possibly,
to Jax.
But
The
there's
genuine
huge,
gold is lying.
huge chunks
Oh,
off.
yeah.
So obviously we've already seen that there's 5 points off Behemoth and how his subcortex affects everything. So Behemoth is just ridiculous.
It's gold, but also, and again, I'm just going to throw my usual bit of salt into the air. You want to bring infantry back, and now Behemoth is thrown back into the game with more boosted damage to wipe out infantry.
Well, yeah,
So all those Daughters of the Flame I was talking about, we'd love to see. Behemoth's just going to blast them all off the table with scattered boosted dice. Their blast resistance isn't going to save them from Behemoth.
Yeah, and Victor and Conquest have both got cheaper as well by 2 points each. Yeah. So Victor's only 32 points, Conquest 33. They are cheap for an awful lot of boxes and an awful lot of potential.
And obviously you can take both of those in Menoth as well if you play Warriors of the Old Faith.
Yeah.
So
but
nearly all of these Jacks you can see in Warriors of the Old Faith.
Yeah.
So you can put Battle on your Victor for 32 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Or you could put Battle on your Devastator, which now doesn't open up when it rains of deaths.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next answer to your poor Daughters of the Flame, who Devastator just gets up there and stays clammed up. The clamjacks are just gold right now.
Yeah, that's a significant change. Hey, Tony, thanks for the like, buddy. So Demolishes, the armored shell now it only opens up if you make a basic melee or throw power attack.
Right.
So you can slam.
You can slam.
You can Rain of Death.
Yeah.
It stays. You can trample.
So
it stays.
You could trample, slam, and headbutt anyway.
Yeah.
You couldn't fire with the Demolisher's guns, and you couldn't Rain of Death. Now you can do both.
That's really scary. That Demolisher being able to fire its guns and stay clammed up.
Yeah,
that's significant.
Issue.
Yeah, they got pretty decent guns as well, actually. What they got? Range 8, power 15.
Yeah, power 15.
One of my favourites, Jax in Kador, Ruin, picked up a buckler.
So he should always have that, right? Like if you've ever seen the model, he clearly has a fucking shield of some sort.
Then where is my 2-inch reach on Death Jack?
His chains. The chains hold his hands down. They're too heavy. It's just a design flaw. You can't. He's like a little fucking kangaroo trying to punch you. He's just a bit too
his
far
own
away.
soul. Stupid. But no, Ruin. But Ruin up to armor 21 native is really solid.
I'll take that.
Ruin's
and here's the big one. Here's the really big one. Have you taken a look at the Spriggan?
Yeah.
So just getting some flat flare on the ranged.
Suddenly you okay. Look, it's flare. It's not beacon, which is what you'd really love. But still,
maybe a bit too much.
It's good in. It makes a Spriggan mat 10 in melee.
It means the Spriggan can also shoot and enable other cheaper jacks to go in.
Yeah.
Because a Spriggan is still an expensive jack.
Yeah. I don't get why it's more expensive than Beasto 9. Because Beasto 9 is now cheaper than Spriggan.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Flare's a strong ability.
So, but again, Kador definitely seem to be on the upswing. The units is a lot of just like slight point adjustments, but Outriders and Turnians have both gained Battle Wizard, because if you didn't see enough Zakova to terrorize you.
So that ties into the Colden Lord. The Colden Lord used to give out Battle Wizard as his leadership.
Yeah.
That's now been changed to Prowl.
Yeah.
Now there are soon to be four Grey Lord casters in Kador. Zakova 1 and 2, and Karchev 1 and 2. So now they can all have Prowl. So now you can have Prowling Karchev.
Prowling Karchev too. That's fun.
So
Prowl Deathchev. Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, Prowling Deathchev. He
That's-
watches you. He checks
And
out your
then-
history. He kills you.
And the only points drop that I think is worth mentioning is Ulan's.
Yeah.
Ulan's got a -2,
17
-3.
points.
Yeah, so
17
good
points for a full unit of Ulan's. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
and-
if you're if you're playing in Warriors of the Old Faith, you can take 4 units of heavy cav for
That's-
75 points.
That's scary. And then, like you said, Matt, the Man of War have all gone down. So Bombardiers are 2 points down for a max unit. Demo Corps are, and the Shock Troopers are down by 1. So
Yeah,
lets you fit in if you're playing a beefy Man of War list. Lets you put more beef in it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the Dragos Dragorovich is down 2 points as well,
Yeah. Significant.
and the Shock
And
Trooper
so
officer is
is
down 1.
and the Bombardier officer's down by 2 points as well. Yes, it all adds up pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Kador, another on
Oh.
the win pile for the update, I'd say.
And-
So,
I'd say the last big win for Kador is the Assault Commandos.
so
Who are now
many
in
assault
the guard.
commander changed?
So Assault Commandos are down to 4 points.
Yeah, 4 points for a full unit. That's
Yes,
the
so they're
big
down
troops
they're down
in
to
so far.
11 for 10 guys.
Yeah.
The Flamethrower is now 1 point each, rather than 2. So they've lost like 10 points on their maximum cost.
And they've gained Winter Guard, which
Winter
means
Guard.
they can take orders from Joe.
And the Winter Guard Artillery Captain now has Veteran Leader Winter Guard.
Sure.
Yeah,
So,
you can
yeah.
bob and weave them, you can stuff them, you give them an extra +1 to their Mat and Rat, whatever they're going in for. Yeah,
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
And they have one of the
Solid.
few they have one of the few grievous wounds that works on Gargossels or
it's just,
Gargantuans.
yeah, because it's not not
that's
grievous.
big.
It's just and
Kinda
do they
heal.
see through clouds as well?
They
They do, right? They've got the gas mask,
so.
or whatever. Is it gas mask or some other?
Yeah, they got alchemical mask, does
Alchemical
not suffer
mask,
gas
yeah.
effects, ignores
Right.
clouds, and concealment from clouds when
So-
standing in line of sight.
So it's pretty good,
Yeah.
especially in a world where there's lots of Gaspies clouds available to lots of factions, for instance.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And talking of Gaspy, let's segue into how Cricks are looking. So Evan, come on, you must be happy, right?
No.
Are you
Ah.
are you happy? Is there enough? Is there not enough?
And the salt mines can just open right
Here we
now.
go. This may
Oh
be
man,
this may be where
I am
we feel we missed.
so disappointed in the Crix updates. Just forgotten.
It starts.
No
it
head
starts strong,
stepchild.
though, right? It starts really
Ah.
strong. So, Asphyxious the Hellbringer, we see that his feet now affect
He's been
essence.
his feet has been updated to work in Infernals as well.
And
So
then we'll see
sure,
that.
good luck.
We'll see that across a lot of different casts as well, though. Like where
Yeah.
they can maybe siphon energy off, they can now do it to essence. Where feats
Yeah.
punish you some way.
And that's fine.
We're going through the doc in order. We're only on Crix, so we've not got to Rat yet. We
Yeah.
are, in fact, Ret are after Crix. So
So what have Crix seen that's interesting? I mean, they've had a moderate amount of quality of life updates. I just don't think they do much for them.
3 got a bunch buffer. So
Denny 3 got much tougher, but keeping her alive was never the problem. It was making her useful that was the problem.
Was she only armor 16?
yeah.
Yeah,
How bad is that, right?
Ah.
She's riding an undead dragon, but she may as well be riding a worm.
a
It's like-
power 12
Yeah.
undead dragon. Literally, we've just come off Kador, whose fucking horses are power 14. I'm not bitter at all, by the way.
I'm just saying, right? If your undead dragon is such
sakes.
a pissant, then there's obviously some sort of flaw in the teaching methods that are going on the Shard Islands.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some definite issues.
If your boss is telling you he's the most all-powerful necromancer ever been, and that's what he
You
gets
chose,
raised,
you
you're
chose
like,
to throw
like,
your lot
really, mate?
behind Leroy Jenkins, and
This-
it fucking shows.
this horse could beat up your undead dragon. What's going on? And they're like, no, I wish the dragon father. Shh, don't ask questions.
So, So yeah, Denny, like, she's gained a whole lot of survivability, and that was never her problem. So swing and a miss. Shadowmancer didn't make any real difference here. Swing and a miss. It's still too expensive. It still doesn't accomplish much.
Just gives Dark Shroud basically to the Jacks.
They always did get. They always get. It always did.
Always?
Yeah,
gives stealth.
It's the most expensive spell in the game. It's 5 points. It gives you stealth. Gives a Battle Groot stealth and Dark Shroud. And he's still got the same problem that he wants to cast whatever that door spell is to basically pull the Jack back. Yeah. But he can't pull a Spirit Door. A, he doesn't have the focus, and B, if he does pull that, he does it before he casts Shadowmancer. So you've now got Crick's Warjacks, which are not very strong without some sort of a buff.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Iacos
he's a swing and a miss.
So Iacos looks bad.
Iacos 2 is probably the most interesting caster change. His harpoon actually looks interesting. It's range 10, that's usable. And leap means he can do his thing and leap afterwards, I think. The wording's a little confusing, but as I understand, he can shoot something, or he can walk, shoot something, and then leap away to safety afterwards. He can actually do some interesting things.
Yeah.
And they gave him the option to say, stuff it, I'll do no damage, drag you in, and hit you so I can use Blood Boon. Like, Iacos is looking interesting. He's definitely the one that's the most interesting. Asphyxious 2, they're trying really hard to get souls back in the game.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of hits to the soul protection mechanics, and they've given Asphyxious 2, a better way, a slightly more certain soul collection.
Yeah, and we've seen that
I don't know if it's going to work.
Soul Ward's now within 5 inches rather than...
That's 5 inches, and that's across the board.
That's a big
They're
thing.
trying really hard to get soul mechanics back in the game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good enough to, see Crix make good use of it.
Yeah.
People play fairly tight battle lines. They don't spread out enough for this to really matter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Terminus, I've never liked Terminus, but Terminus, fine. He gained some Warjack points.
But his features, regardless of the proximity of the models, that's the whole him collecting souls, right?
Yeah,
that's not Terminus. That's Asphyxious who's throwing his little line.
No, it's Terminus.
So Terminus
well.
stacks.
Regardless of other models. Yes.
That's a bit more like it used to be, at least. So
it's
a step in the right direction.
The step in the right direction. I'm not convinced. I just don't see enough souls in the game.
Yeah.
But maybe if we see lots more, maybe if we see Flame Guard and Iron Fangs coming back in, he'll have more of a play.
Yeah, well,
that could be interesting.
Encouraging more infantry, and then the 5-inch protection rather than like a 10-inch bubble means that he's got the potential to reach like lofty amounts of souls on him, making him incredibly tanky, and then a monster the next turn when he's like sat with 20 focus at the start of his activation. But,
So Morty gained something interesting. So, and this is Sack Lamb. It's been changed on a couple of models, where instead of just outright killing a model takes D3 damage. So if you've got
models.
Sorry, you've got up to 2 models. Yes, up to 2 models, and for each point of damage, you can gain a focus. So with that one spell, you can fuel a lot of Warjacks.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
You can also give your caster a top up with it as well.
Yes, you can. Yeah. You can indeed.
I asked Faye, and Faye said that is as intended.
That is the intent.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. I still think Mortenebra suffers from lack of a damage buff, so I don't think that's going to help her enough. But it's possible, and with a bit of gas speed for love, you might be able to see her see some play.
Yeah, gas
I'm
and
not
obviously
convinced.
you can take her in Strange Bedfellows as well. So she's got the option to bring Merc Jacks and Convergence Jacks or Vectors as well with her. So
Hey, you can take her in Heart of Darkness as well if for some god awful reason you want to, bring howlers with her.
Yeah.
I have no idea why, but you could.
So
is Mortenebra still the worst caster in 4 factions?
She never was, because Sturgis 2 existed.
She's fighting though. They're fighting in the trenches. Right, so
they're literally fighting in the trenches.
Let's say that basically they've had a slight quality of life adjustment in the positive in regards to souls and being able to affect essence. Terminus is I think Terminus has got the biggest step towards something good. But that depends on how the meta shapes out. Like if everyone starts just running all these cheaper jacks, then his feat's going to do nothing.
And the oldest shitty joke in the game has now been taken out. Scar no longer has a great rack; she has horns.
Yeah.
It's fair, right?
I'll miss the juvenile joke, but it's a juvenile joke.
Yeah, we're a bit past it.
Its time has gone. Fine, so be it. Sturgis the Corrupted. We missed
Gatsby's one's feat is now power 7, as Ryan's pointed out in the chat. Yeah, so
I gave it all the time it fucking deserves. Let's move on.
I'm not sure why.
I've given it all the time it fucking deserves.
So they're not. So Craig's not really looking like winners so far. The Jacks got like a nice bunch of drops. There's lots of like 2 and 3 point adjustments, and obviously Death Jack being a 5-point drop.
DJ's 5-point drop is the biggest thing.
Yep.
I cannot believe they missed this opportunity to fix the goddamn Leviathan. Like, that is staggering to me. And the Sepulchre is a similar one.
So both have just gone down by 2 points and switched burst fire for volume fire.
Burst fire for volume fire. But, I mean, the Leviathan with D3 shots, this has been an abject failure from day one. I have no idea how this didn't get fixed.
The D3 shots is now like a slim thing that's like just hanging on. Just change it to 2. Just
you can get away with, like, it's not so egregious on the Sepulchre because it's got enough shots that you're never going to waste focus.
Yeah.
When all you have is D3 shots and you have to allocate focus beforehand, that's just that's an unacceptable thing.
Maybe just if it's not 2 shots, make it a shot and have reload, and then it doesn't matter if you
reload. Or just give it rate of fire 2. Jeez, this isn't hard.
It's not. Yeah.
Make it reload 1 if you desperately want to avoid giving Cricks good guns. But
I think the big win, apart from Death Jack, is all the other Couch Jacks have all gone down by 2. So Baratham, he was good. Erebus has gone down by 3.
Is good.
Erebus is really tasty at 13 points. Fuck yeah, I take Erebus. And
Malice at 13 points is solid.
Yeah, and
even Reaper at 11 is solid. Like, there's some interesting warjacks here.
Yeah, but
the problem is
devastate. Like Charybdis on top of an Iacos does an awful lot of work, and a 15-point Charybdis is like, yes, please.
I mean, unless you're spamming jacks, the problem is Crick's warjacks fold like paper. So you better be having a fortune of jacks, kind of a la Gaspy 9 Slayers of a previous year. Unless you're doing that, you're not going to win games off that. Crick's warjacks just fall apart.
How much were Slayers, Evan?
10 points.
So Slayers were 10 points. Is Malice and Erebus worth 3 points more? And Baratham, that seems fucking good. Like, maybe that's.
I've got to tell you, Baratham at 13 points is really tempting.
Yeah.
My point is, Crix is not a warjack faction.
Yeah.
And all of the buffs are buffed Crix warjacks. Like, Crix is a really shitty warjack faction. Crix has fast, bad warjacks.
Yeah.
That's just the sad truth of it.
Yeah.
Their power strength is low.
Yeah.
Their mat is high. Their armor is tissue paper. Crix has shitty warjacks. You can't build
at least they're
pairing
cheaper.
based on them.
At least they're cheaper now. Kraken's gone down to 30. Kraken's gone down to 32 as well. So another Colossal that's gone down to that 32, 33 mark. So nice big one.
That seems to be the point they're aiming for, which is fine.
Here's the biggest win for the Warjacks for Crix is the Scavenger and the Shrike have both gone down by a point, so it makes my Strange Bedfellows lists a little bit cheaper. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad the Crix buffs were good for someone. It's just not Crix.
Yeah, I'm happy. So there we go. Let's have a little look. We've got obviously a bunch more point adjustments. The Eilish Overseer one is an interesting one. I know Faye said she was like really chuffed with that.
I don't know. You see, that's again. There's so much of a focus on Crix Warjacks. Like, you're pushing everything here. When the ILO gets souls, so what? What does it do with them? It can cast a boosted Dark Fire. I don't know why this is considered a great thing. It's not like you can use those souls to do cool things for the Warjack that's under your ILO.
Yeah.
If that was the case, it would be very interesting. I just don't see it.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, there does seem to be a big Warjack swing for Crix, which is an odd one. But then
it's not what Crix ever did well.
Yeah. So
what Crix did well was actually having overpowered casters with underpowered infantry, and
lots of them.
They sort of balanced each other out.
Yeah, and the infantry have all had there's some decent reductions.
There've been some reasonable points reduction.
Bane Riders are 3 points cheaper.
Bane Riders
Warriors
dropping by 3
cheaper.
is great.
Bile Thralls are 6 points cheaper.
Bile Thralls took a massive points drop.
Cheaper.
And but I still don't think I'm ever going to use them.
I can take them with Aurora 1. It's all right.
They're speed 5 and they're throwing out sprays that kill themselves. Like, I just don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're cheap but big deal.
Yeah, they're not bad.
The boarding party have drag. You know, the one thing that is a win, I will give credit here, we actually skipped past it, is the War Witch Siren.
Alright, the change for seduction.
That got a very good change. Because those are still speed 7. They've got all the cool defenses you could want for they've got parry and stealth and pathfinder, so they can be wherever you want. They aren't trivially removed, although they can be killed fairly easily. And it's a 10-inch threat on seduction, and seduction has no dice roll.
Yeah. So just take control, make an advance and a melee attack.
Yeah. Yeah. A 3-point War Witch Siren. I think you're going to see more sirens on the table because that's value. That's really good value.
Yeah, and obviously they've got venom too. So if they're not seducing you, they could just go in the middle of a list and spray down. For instance,
or they hand focus to a Warjack.
Yeah.
or they handing what's the name? Handing a focus to a Warjack is not a bad thing either, because Crix casters don't like handing out their focus.
I like the change that Soul Hunters have had. So Soul Hunters have gone down by 2 points.
Soul Hunters got a good change. I just don't know how you keep them alive. They've got the same problem as Raptors.
I think
Occultation doesn't protect them anymore, and they're too expensive to stick on the table and just get shot to pieces.
I think they've got to be like a flanking unit that kills wherever it goes in, or mostly kills, then repos back.
Yeah. Starting with a soul token is amazing, and I mean they're fast as can be. They start at speed 9, 12, 14. They've got a native 14-inch threat without even using Dara Wraith. So Soul Hunters, I want to love them. I think the game's still a bit too toxic for them. You're going to lose 3 of them to Judicator shooting before they get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. I want to love them. I don't see myself putting them on the table.
Would you take them though if you could give them a +2 threat extension every turn and a flight, and then boost their attacks?
Yes, I would.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but
So
you get Strange Bedfellows and Crix.
Yeah. So Strange Bedfellows has done quite well out of the Crix changes.
Yes, I mean,
and Crix has done not so well out of Crix changes.
I look at all the changes. There's like small points changes here and there, and it's nothing's gonna get that infantry across the table with an extra point. you're going to save it. If you want to play an infantry list, you're going to save maybe 8 points across the board.
Yeah.
That might buy you an extra 2 solos or a min unit of something, and they're still all going to die before they cross the board.
So what do we think was missed out here? So obviously we've talked about the whole things that things like Synergistic needed blast immunity to be able to be delivered. So that's something that they should have immunity rather
which
than
they've lost.
Yeah,
but Synergistic needed the speed. Synergistic needed to get back basically Mark II.
Yeah.
Like the game's moved on enough that Mark II Synergistic would have been fine.
Yeah,
you give the Raider Captain back Desperate Pace, and you give them back AD.
Yeah.
There is no reason not to have that.
Yeah, they're comparable with a lot of things then.
Yeah. I know I'm pushing my luck. I'll say it again. I want the Mechanic Cannon back.
Yeah, Mechanic Thralls not being changed. Brute Thralls not being changed.
I know, which is
reductions.
shocking to me.
So
no change to Mechanithralls or to Necrosurgeons. Yeah. There is so much that was missed out here.
Yeah.
Bane Riders need a speed increase. There's just no excuse for them as they are.
Are they speed 6 or 7?
Speed 7. There's no heavy cavalry should be speed 8. There's no excuse for them at speed 7.
Their horses take them as fast as an elf walks. Yeah.
I mean, they're power 13, 15 on the charge. Like they're not. They really aren't fantastic. They're paying a lot for vengeance.
Yeah.
And I think it's too much. I just don't see how they all get across the table, and that's really the problem.
As a faction goes, are we saying that this is not one of the winners, and they need to basically have more focus on fixing
everything,
on fixing the infantry,
the infantry in particular.
Yeah, basically less focus on the jacks, more focus on the infantry, and actually getting back to a day where they could deliver that infantry. I think that seems fair.
Yeah, there's been a weird focus on trying to make Crix the we spam lots of infantry and overwhelm you faction, and stuff is just too efficient at killing infantry these days.
Yeah, that's right.
Even with the nerfs in this update, it doesn't come close to stopping it.
Yeah, right. It's like the zombie horde versus the Apache.
Yeah,
basically.
And so let's jump into I think another one of the winners, Retribution.
Yes,
they've come out with some very tasty changes. So they've got interesting changes as well as like quality of life and reductions. So there's some things like Ron gets extra jack points. Elara gets repo, which is pretty nice. Elara is legit.
Solid. That's
repo,
really solid.
Just repo 5 onto a card. We've already pre-seen the Falsier changes. So Falsier. Cuts Cyclone, gains Vanish, gains Sprint, gets Thresher, and Amputation becomes Crit Amp. And the paying the price change as well. So that's all as expected. Falsier definitely still good.
Still really solid. That's
terrifying.
Still a top tier caster.
Maybe not terrifying all the time, but the potential to be terrifying.
Still terrifying. She controls a board in a way that very few others can match. Kruger doesn't control the board the way she does.
Yeah. And then got some other changes, like this Syria change isn't really a big one, I think.
No, that's minor.
Kalissa. Kalissa used to be like, I used to love playing Kalissa. And she's now got the Synergistic Magic, so when she's killing models, she's going to be gaining power tokens. So it's any attack. It's not a melee or a gun. So it's melee, gun, or magic. Every model means she gains a power token which she can spend on upkeeps and to upkeep spells. And she's got a bunch of good spells. And she's got Energy Siphon on her gun. So as she shoots stuff, she can strip Focus, Fury, or Essence and gain
the Essence points. Is new.
Yeah, the Essence point obviously is new.
Stripping Essence is massive because stripping Essence off a horror just starts really wrecking an Infernals player's Essence economy.
Yeah, especially if it's horrors that they're far forward enough. But yeah, so she's basically got. So she's changed her just a flat rate of fire 3, range 12 on the gun. So there's no need for her to reload anymore, because that was the thing. She could shoot 3 times, but she had to pay 2 folks to do so. She now just shoots 3 times, She gains Snipe as one of her attack types. So she got Snipe, Phantom Hunter, Energy Siphon. She's looking very tasty. I think she
is really looking solid.
Yeah. So
and
fair play.
the open fire buff as well.
And open fire to open fire for Ravin.
Oh, yes.
And energize yourself
That's
with motion.
Yeah, man.
So
Ignore me.
no, but Ravin. So Kalissa's looking super good. Ravin's a little bit better, and Ravin was decent after her change anyway. And then Virus 2's feat change is very nice. So if you've not played Virus 2, I've not seen him on the table an awful lot. I played him in my first or my second WTC. So when you kill a model inside the control area, when the feat is up, another model of his gets to move 3 inches. Except for now, it's a model gets to move 3 inches, and also you allocate, one of your warjacks gains a focus, and you don't remove unspent focus at the end of it. So basically, every time
really solid.
You basically just guarantee you're going to stack up to 3 on all of the things you want. So Imperatus and however many Griffins, which we'll get to in a second, will be sat on 3 focus, and Virus will be there, upkeeping synergy and not needing to spend his stack apart from to go in and do something himself, maybe. That's
a solid change for Virus.
And obviously, really Virus has always kept Bird's Eye, so him and his entire battle group can see through clouds and forests.
Yeah,
legit. Yeah, I think Virus is very strong, and this is just
Virus maybe coming back into the meta.
I think a Virus list in Forges with obviously he's got shield guards all over the place. He's got clouds if he wants to. There's some power there. Definitely caster wise, they've got some really nice changes. I'm surprised Ossian didn't get a little bit of a positive tweak. But as
Ossian's a hard one to give a positive tweak, because when Ossian does well, he's such a negative play experience.
But at the moment, he's just such a wet flannel.
Yeah, and Face specifically said they were keeping an eye on gun lines.
And he is.
They're not going to buff. When they're worried about gun lines, they're not going to buff Ossian.
I guess. And then we've seen like Jack changes. We'll see. This is the big. There's a couple of big things.
The first, the battle engine. This has been spoiled before. But it's
one power-up token instead of D3, and 4 shield becomes blast resistance, basically, which is very we've seen already. The big things for the Jacks is Hyperion and Helios go down in points. Hyperion is 30 points. 30 points. Hyperion is a fucking good colossal. And he is now.
I still don't get why he's cheaper than the Helios, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell he's cheaper than a Kraken. Jeez.
Hyperion behind Ravin, where she's just fucking shooting the Sparkle Burst cannon an extra time, and you've got options to bring to extend the range. Yeah, that's a scary prospect. So that's the one big change, and the other one that's a big one is how Fleet works. So Fleet is on Moros and on the Griffins, and it used to be you spend a focus to give yourself +2 movement,
speed,
or speed. I can't remember which one it was.
It's movement. It's not speed, but
whereas now it is while you have 2 or more focus, you gain +2 inches movement when advancing. So you don't have to, as long as you've got.
It's amazing. You get the extra focus.
Yeah, you basically don't have to spend focus for it. So the focus you would normally spend on it, you just hang on to, just get the threat extender.
And this is Ret. It's very easy to push those lights up into the territory of killing a heavy.
Yep, and it's very easy to hand out a lot of focus. I think.
And they've just got an innate speed buff that doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
Griffins.
Yeah,
I was not expecting this one.
Yeah, very much.
Griffins were always played.
Old school Virus 2 Griffin spam, with or without Imperatus. I think it's absolutely coming back, and it's going to be really, really strong.
I agree.
Especially with his new feet as well, so he hasn't got to worry about fueling his jacks.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly.
Like, you take. I used to run him with a couple of units of battle mages, just as basically the chaff in front that were hard to remove because they were blast immune and stuff. And if you didn't remove them, they'd just drag you towards the stuff that would hit
you've also got the power-up units. It's not like he ever struggled to fuel them before, but now it's just even easier.
Yeah, it basically frees up your Arcanists to just hand out concentrated power to a load of jacks. So so they've got really well. A couple of more like changes, just points wise. Nothing that's really to write home about. The Phoenix going down to 15 points, I think, is a big one because it's a heavy arc node for 15 points that also can kill shit.
I mean, it's always had that weird thing of you want your arc nodes to be throwaways, so the Phoenix is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's still straddling that weird space, but maybe it's a little more. Maybe it's easier to swallow at 15.
Owen's asking in the chat. It's like a Virus 2 left method. Yeah, I've not seen Virus 2 on the table for probably since I played Virus 2, which was.
I haven't seen him in Mark. I haven't seen him in
4 years ago.
In Mark 3. I've not seen him in Mark 3.
Used to play Virus 2. That was years ago, pre-themes.
Yeah. Yeah, so Virus 2 not very popular, although now probably very, very popular. Yeah, Ret have got an awfully good roster of casters to choose from now, and it's not just casters; it's very different lists, right? Because what you bring with Virus is going to be completely different to what you bring with Falsier, which is going to be completely different to what you bring with Kylissa.
Yeah.
Which is going to be and on,
which is
and
good.
On. Yeah. So cool. Other stuff. There's been cheap stuff everywhere. Sentinels going down by 3 points is a big one. 3 points, and then the UA has gone down by 1 as well. So, what were they? They're like a 22-point unit to get like the whole lot, the full unit of Sentinels and the officer in standard. And now they're down to 18, so 4 points cheaper.
16. No, 18.
18. So is that enough to get them on the table? Maybe. I'd probably not. Probably not, but yeah, it'll put the table on the table for some people. But
yeah.
And Electrobouncers, I think, are the big win for the infantry.
Yeah, because that's big.
5 points
From 7 to 5. Basically means for a price of 2, you're now getting 3 units. Like that's a big change.
Yeah, I would be happy with that. So I'd say definitely Retribution have come out very, very strong.
Red came out very well out of this.
From an ex-Ret player, like I would be tempted to play Ret again based on how they look right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's tons of...
I wouldn't be upset as Ret at all.
Yeah, there's tons of variety, tons of interesting options. They're definitely looking like sets to do an awful lot of damage to the meta. So
basically, as soon as if you're a Ret player, as soon as you finished crying into your milk over your Trident,
you realise that
you're actually
probably one of the top factions. Yeah. Still, you're fine. And Owen, who's in the chat, doesn't even have Tridents. Good lad. Well, he did last time we played. He's only just come back to the game, so he's forgiven the
I still think a Trident is worth picking up. I think it's got a lot of potential. It does a lot. It's just not the linchpin of your faction
it just
anymore,
doesn't do everything in your list, because that's the problem. You brought it and you brought your 2 Tridents, and they would do everything you needed. And then also...
The only reason you brought any heavies is that you had FA2 on your Tridents.
Yeah. Although I do wonder what happened to the Arcantric Force Generator.
It's not a Trident.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've seen them. I played against one the other week at Sherwood, in fact, the guy had two Tridents and an AFG. It was like... all of
I think the AFG lost out a bit with everyone picking up 5 million shield guards and immunity to knockdown. It was always a tech piece,
and it
was a range knockdown piece.
It being slow, there's so much stuff moves so quickly, and it couldn't really reposition. Because if you reposition, you lose your second shot, and if you don't, then you're basically waiting for stuff to walk into your range, and obviously then other people can dictate where your shots can go. So, so one of my factions, Convergence. So we've seen so Arknewin Aurora.
Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
So we've already seen that. So we'd already seen that flying high changes. So because blast resistance instead of immunity. So like armor 16 on angels isn't likely to keep them alive against any decent blast damage attacks. So.
Yeah.
So
armor 18 is not bad. Armor 18, like, what guns are killing you with blast damage at armor 18? Even high explosives. Judicators, actually, are they?
Yeah, they're
your power 14.
Power 9.
Yeah, so power 9.
Yeah.
If you're armor 18, you still have to boost to kill that.
Yeah, if you're shooting at Hypatia, you boost, right, and then you just kill her because you only got actually got 5 boxes.
No. If you catch Hypatia, you boost. You spend that bonus.
I don't think it's. So I know obviously people were hating on Bedfellows, and I think it's fine to have as a change. But it just means you change how you play the list rather than you just chuck it in the bin. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
And we see like all gamers, right? We see it across multiple games. Someone gets a slight tweak, a slight nerf, and they just go straight in the bin rather than trying to work around it. I think you just flex in how you build and how you change things. So that's okay. Suppression Initiative has changed, which is like one of my favourite abilities she has. So normally it is just gives dual attack to flying models, but it's been changed. It's been changed because of Void Archons. So now it's friendly living or construct models with flight gain dual attack. So it's to prevent you from having double spraying Void Archons, which is fine. Obviously Void Archons looked like they were dicked because you couldn't. You couldn't void walk off your assault spray, but spoilers, we'll get to it. Spoilers, they're fixed. It's fine, which means that you don't need to rely on Aurora 2 to give them 2 sprays to be able to get.
Right.
So that's fine. So yeah, I think reasonable changes to Aurora, not too bad. Axis has a change. I think the change is just like a quality of life thing, right? It was. All of it's a quality of life. So stuff like not being able to have like iron aggression on Gatsby's Jack, for instance, and the feat being it applies curtail for the -2 speed and strength, or gives you.
It hasn't changed. They've just added keywords. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And obviously, Father Who Counts Shield Guard changes just based on the Shield Guard change itself.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So it's no in-game change so far.
Iron Mother has got a new spell, Facilitate, which is interesting. So she goes to Rat 6, so she gets +1 Rat, and then she has Facilitate, which is cost 2. And while in the spellcaster's control range, friendly faction models' rats become equal to the spellcaster's rat. So obviously the difference is this affects all of the infantry, and so
does that really make a difference to her?
Well, it gives you the potential to bring like a more shooty-based infantry list.
But weren't your shooting models like the worst that would have been is Rat 5 anyway? So it's really
but you have plenty of like Rat 5 or 6 as your rat for all of the infantry.
As your baseline.
So, and obviously she can feat and become Rat 6. So she feats, casts Facilitate, and then the what's his name? The Electro Bot, the Riot Quest guy that's got that knocks you down when he shoots you with his electro gun. Now is also Rat 8, and Hypatia is Rat 8, and
yes.
So it does give options there for Clockwork Legion and stuff, which is cool.
That's interesting. Okay, so I don't think it's a big change.
I don't think it's a big change.
Maybe it helps her a bit.
A little bit of a little bit of a sort of change for her. And then we see the TEP goes down by 2 points to 16, and it gains 8 boxes because it didn't have a lot of boxes.
Okay, fine.
Is it enough to put it on the table?
The TEP wasn't changed
That's
in
a big
the
deal.
first Battle Engine CID.
Yeah, it was like the golden standard, and then everything else has gone past it, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think even 8 boxes and 2 points reduction. I don't think it's put on the table because it just gets one rounded by any heavy that lands on it.
It does, but that's always been most battle engines. But the damage output is enough here that you put it on a flank. There are only 2 heavies, so it sprays 1 heavy off the table. You've got an army to kind of keep the other one off you.
Maybe I might actually have to buy TEPs. Who knows?
I'm not
convinced.
I think the TEPs got play suddenly with that. 23 boxes was low.
Yeah.
You shoot that off the table a bit too easily.
Yeah.
Also,
it's got a sack pawn, and obviously some lists it's got shield guard, but obviously not as good now. But so maybe we'll see a resurgence of the TEP. I'm not sure.
I think they're worth looking at. That's big.
And then Jacks, there's a whole lot of changes where it's just like a couple of points down. There's a lot of Jacks have taken 2 points down. Mitigator gets Quake and Snipe. I don't know if that'll make you actually take it. Mitigator is whether like the little floaty, a little like looks like an Imperial droid sort of Jack. I've never put one in the list.
Quake is solid.
But like it's like a range 8 gun, I think it is. Or
okay, fine. No,
Ryan, thanks for the like over there, buddy. Teslators we knew were going up by a point. A couple of just tweaks here and there, and again the Colossals. So the Prime Conflicts goes down by 2, so it's now only 31 points, which is very solid. And the Prime Axiom goes down by 3 points, but it's still 34 points, but 3 points off.
Yeah, it's still
I think it's still expensive.
Pricey, boy.
Yeah, I think it's too expensive still. Probably could have gone down by, like, based on how we've seen the other Colossals that have changed, I think it probably could have gone down to 32.
It could have been 33, 32. Yeah,
32. I think it's the most expensive one in the game. 34 points.
Could well be.
Yeah. And obviously we've seen the drag stuff has changed. But we also know that the Prime Axiom did an auto point of damage with its dragons, so it never have to worry about that. So it's lost out a little bit of its like cool thing that could always drag you, hit you. I think just a little bit more of a reduction would have been enough, but it's fair. And then the rest of the changes are like very minor adjustments to points, and this is huge. Like this is such a missed like opportunity. So the units, Optifex Directive have gone down by a point to 3 point. Who are the mechanics that can give you Pathfinder and magic weapons? That's the only reduction in the infantry. So all of the medium base infantry and all of the single wound small base infantry that haven't been played have just been left untouched. The only thing they've changed is reductors gain assault and the new text from Shield Wall.
In a world where everything that's being played is getting a points reduction, that's a bit of a nerf. Yeah,
it seems, and that's it really. It seems very much like a couple of cheaper stuff on the Jacks. It seems like they've just been like overlooked, maybe. There's not enough changes to. I think they're one of the losers. But we'll see. Obviously,
or it could mean there's something coming in the future.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. And obviously, Locke is in there as well, which we'll get to in a minute because we're on Crucible Guard next. In fact, we'll just cover Locke quickly because it matters, I guess. So she goes up by 1 defense, and then her feats can affect essence, but that's basically it. So there's not big changes to stuff. Obviously, we've seen him joked about how the Crix change. The Crix changes are probably more impactful for convergence lists than the convergence changes. But, I think they've definitely missed a trick. There should be a little bit more, like some reductions or some quality of life changes to all this infantry that isn't being taken, because it's still not going to be
Yeah.
taken. Like, yeah.
Agreed. I think there's quite a bit of missed opportunity here.
Yeah. So, Crucible Guard, though.
Yeah,
Talk,
not many
talk us-
changes.
Talk us through some Crucible Guard, boys, while I have a drink.
Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. So Lucas has come off his throne ever so slightly, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of that,
Yeah.
I think, is due to the changes to Death Archons.
Yes. Yeah.
Which,
Well,
And he's lost 3 Warjack
he
points.
lost 3 points.
Yeah.
He lost
Yeah.
3 Warjack points. Like, they clearly saw that, okay, he was... they threw out his last changes and people were just salivating.
Yeah, and they've given those Warjack points to Gearhart instead. So
yeah.
so Lucas has lost 3 Warjack points, and Gearhart has gained 3 Warjack points.
Just found him. Yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah, that's
but Faye did say that the Crucible Guard obviously have only recently had like a big bunch of sweeping updates.
very
Yeah,
little.
They're going to get a light touch. So this stuff. So whereas Convergence was missed opportunities and things that haven't been changed in like an entire edition, Crucible Guard a light touch because we expected it because they've just gone through some big changes, some big power ups,
Yeah.
some big quality of life.
They're a new faction that have also had a new update. Fair enough.
So
three months ago it came out.
Yeah, something like that. So
Yeah.
not a lot of
Yeah.
changes,
Not
not
long
a
ago.
lot of impactful changes, but also nothing really
Yeah.
that we expected to be different, which is fair.
Yeah.
I think that's all we need to say about Convergence. About
Yeah.
probably
That's about
just
it.
some slight changes. Infernals.
Infernals
Go-
are
go- go
interesting.
for it.
Not a lot of
And
changes,
Thanks Terry for the follow, buddy.
but some impactful changes to the meta because Infernals are or at least were quite a bully boy to to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see a couple of small points changes to casters. We see Zartaroth's Weaver of Shadows, Long Shadows ability, get the minimum of 8 inches that we see across the board for range reduction, which is, fine, yes, no, whatever. The big change is there's some armor changes. So the 2 lights go up to armor 15 each. So the Lamenter is +1, the Shriek is +2. Honestly, I don't think it's going to make a difference. You're still going to see the Shrieker summoned as your light of choice from Regner, and you're still going to see no one bother taking lights. Like, that's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
They need some quality of life changes. The really big one is the heavies, the Desolator and the Tormentor, both drop a point of armor. This is rough. Now, this has been spoiled before,
I was gonna say
but it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal for Infernals. This is a faction that's really looking to just trade on boxes, and the armor hurts them a lot doing that. It makes the Omodamus list a lot more honest, and it makes things much more nervous for the other 2 casters in Dark Legacy.
Yeah.
Zartaroth does not like this, nor does and Zartaroth, at least she's got a good defensive feat to kind of cheat a bit on trades. Agathon is going to be on a losing wicket a lot of the time until she pulls her feet and pulls some bullshit.
Yeah.
Agathon does not like this at all. So that's
24
rough.
boxes, the Tormentor? 24? 22?
The Tormentor, it's 24.
Yeah.
It's basically a Menoth Light.
Yeah.
Except now it's got less armor than a Menoth Light.
So a bunch of this stuff obviously
Basically
we
a
saw.
circle warp wolf with no
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we
No,
saw this coming though, right?
It's a Menoth Lights. So that's rough. Interestingly, the Howlers got some very interesting buffs.
Yeah, some minus
So
-2. That's nice.
They got a little bit of a points decrease, which is fun. So 8-13. So for a min-max unit, brutal charge means with one strength debuff, they're actually quite threatening to heavies.
Yeah.
Because brutal charge means they charge at 15, and with just a Desolator spray, and you're going to summon a Desolator, you can get them up to hitting at power 17.
Yeah.
Like,
Or you
that's-
bring them
that's
with
significant.
Malakov,
Yeah, give them
Malakov,
backstab.
and give them backstrike,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then they start
And
destroying
then
Colossus.
they will wreck the worlds. Now, I think Malakov Hearts of Darkness is actually going to be a pretty significant list. But in actual Infernals, so Dark Legacy, I think you could actually see Howlers now in an Amadeus list. Like,
That's cool.
For 1 point more than your 5th Tormentor, you find the 1 point and you pick up a unit of Howlers instead. That's solid. That gives you a nice chunky front line to not lose your heavies. That's still quite hard to deal with. Their armor 17 base, their armor 19 once he throws his once he puts up locked horns.
Yeah.
I think Howlers could actually come into the game. So
I think they're
that's an
super
interesting
cool
change.
looking models as well, and I like them.
Yeah.
I've played them a bunch
I'm
in
not-
Hearts.
Yeah.
So it'd be
Right.
interesting to see where I've played them with. I think they got a nice spot with Cross, Gaston, like putting them up to like very reasonable armor, and now obviously they're gonna be cheaper for it as well. Yeah, it'd be cool to see them more on the table.
So Howlers, I'm not convinced they would. Like, I'm not rushing out to buy a unit yet.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely try them on War Table a bit and see if they may be worthwhile.
Yeah.
I think Howlers could come into the game, which could be interesting. I do think that Infernals are going to need a bit of a look in a month or two. I think they've taken quite a heavy hit with a nerf bat.
Yeah.
And the Dark Sentinel pushing itself up to armor 16 is just pointless. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's
I
the reason for that.
I don't understand why that makes a difference.
No,
Just
no.
couldn't care less.
Is the Dark Sentinel the cultist UA?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the UA with a sword. It's like, okay.
Why? There is no good reason for this change.
At this point,
does nothing.
At this point, I think they cut Dark Sentinels from cultists and make them into a solo and just rework them.
Make them an elite 3-man unit or something.
Make them an all 3-man combat cultist unit. Where they have ambush.
They have no reason.
Something.
You know, the only reason they exist right now is if you've got 2 points that are floating.
Yeah.
The big missed opportunity here is the Soul Stalker.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about this, haven't we? Yeah.
There was an opportunity to bring the Soul Stalker into the game, and maybe even a quality of life that brought the Lamenter in.
Yeah.
And they missed both of those opportunities,
Yeah.
which is a pity.
That makes sense. Right, so gents, we are approaching the 2-hour mark. So I'm thinking if we go through Mercenaries, and then we'll call it a night. And I'm going to come back tomorrow with whoever fancies joining me, and we'll do a run through the Horde side. So
I think that sounds wise.
So let's jump down the bottom of the list to Mercs, who've got like a decent spread of it. Obviously, we've seen Aurora already. We've gone through that here in detail enough. But Ashlyn 2 is the first big change. 4 extra Warjack points. Again, a significant jump.
A lot.
And Kane 3 as well. 4 Warjack points. So that's like
that's a lot.
And Gunmaid.
Kane picked up Synergistic Magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
With a whole unit of gunners, he picked up Synergistic Magic. That's not small.
I'm just looking at.
Yeah, but it's only when he does it, though.
I've got to stop you.
Fine.
Right? I've got to stop you because I've not actually looked at the Mercs up until right now. So Kane gets 4 Warjack points. Kane 3, 4 Warjack points, and Synergistic Magic. Shay gets Synergistic Magic.
And Sprint.
Siphon gets Synergistic Magic. It's like,
yep.
Yeah, there's some big changes, right? So Ashlyn gets the Gunmage rule, or rather, Vayne in the unit gets the Gunmage rule, and she gets the Warjack points. Kane gets Gunmage. Flicker now affects all the battle group models, and he loses locomotion but gains Synergistic Magic, which is pretty big. He's gonna be scary. Shay, who is I think like a legit pirate caster anyway, gets synergistic magic and sprint. So sprint's really nice for him. And Phantasm changes because of the range thing. So we knew that. But yeah, synergistic magic and sprint really nice for Shay. Rahira's change is just the range difference. Siphon having Synergistic Magic is pretty cool though. So Siphon obviously is like the less seen of the Cephalix.
Of the Cephalix, yeah.
But if he's able to just wheel out power tokens every time he's killing stuff while he's arcing spells all over the place, then yeah, maybe that's enough to see some differences. And what else we got? This is interesting. Gorton gets Energizer and Resourceful.
That's huge.
And Resourceful as well.
Huge.
Really nice.
Yeah. Gorton loves both of those.
Will in the
Gorton's
chat.
scary with that.
Will in the chat, who's long been a Shay caster fan, is saying yeah, Shay might actually get to do some swashbuckling, slinging himself forward, because he puts like extreme threat range onto the
exactly
privateer jams.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Evan, go on, go back to your Gorton.
Gorton. Well, an extra 2-inch threat on Gorton's feet is massive.
Yeah.
The only thing keeping that dwarf honest is that he's got slow, stumpy legs.
Yeah. And now he's
Like,
obviously
Energizer.
the loader can put him forward. He can energize. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Suddenly-
charge. He's getting there.
Suddenly, Gorton's a lot more scary.
looks pretty good. So and then a bunch of the other stuff, like I said, is like the range reduction side of things and things like solid ground and not very exciting changes. Jack wise, all of the dwarf jacks have just got an extra armor, so they're all armor 20.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
not small.
Pretty nice. Yeah, I'm definitely looking at Ostrom going, okay.
Yeah,
And-
Osram's always been.
Yeah,
Oh.
Osram's legit, I think. And then we've got like a lot of like quality of life and just like slight point adjustments of like minus point here on a
Yeah.
Nomad, 2 points on a Renegade. But yeah, not huge differences.
The blockader going down to rate of fire 1's pretty. Pretty
Yeah,
big.
if I won on both
Yeah.
each, so it's got 2 shots basically. But we already seen this, so we were well aware that was coming, so not a surprise.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of the changes for the solos, all like as we said, we've seen Boom Howler's changes already. A lot of the rest of it's just like a point here or there. Obviously, we know the Death Archon changes, so that's not going to surprise anyone that Death Archons are now 9 points, range 2, and now have Vendetta and swap Annihilator for Divine Inspiration.
Yep.
Will says R.I.P. Durgan. What is Durgan Madhammer? Durgan Madhammer. So, friendly faction ones get dual attack and plus 2 attack damage roll with AoE range weapons. Like, was anyone actually playing Durgan anyway? Hasn't he been dead for like an awful long time?
Pretty much.
And they've just chosen. They've basically just chosen to leave him in the ground. It's not worth saving. Just
They basically said, look, what Durgan does, we looked at it and we basically just said,
don't worry about it.
Gunny 2 does it better. If you want to play that, play Gunny 2.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
sometimes
basically
you need to let a bad dwarf die so 2 good dwarfs can live. And
So I asked Faye about Tristan 2,
yeah,
the really bad Menite caster, and her response was, yeah, he was so bad he requires like his own CID to have to work. So they are probably aware that there's some
things
super bad
that
casters
need-
that you can't polish. You need to like have a special
You just
CID.
need
you
to
just
redo
do
them.
a rejig,
Yeah.
which is fair.
That's fair.
so-
Yeah.
So in the future, there might be a crippled Warcaster CID
Yeah,
for all your battle-hardened vets who haven't seen the light of day in 7 years.
yeah. You see it in
That
a lot
would
of
be nice.
you see it in a lot of like computer games and stuff where they'll update a caster or a character, they'll update them, and if it's just not happening, you just need to sit back.
They'll
and go,
do a
right,
full rework.
Just do a full rework,
Yeah.
start from scratch, and go from there. Other stuff that's affecting Mercs is I touched on it earlier about the Void Archons. The Void Archon still goes up to 9 points. Has lost dual attack, gained assault, which is what we knew, and obviously gets a new Soul Ward text of the 5 inches. But Void Walker's changed. So as we saw in the spoiler, it basically meant that you couldn't jump using a spray. They've changed Void Walk, so now it's once per activation, immediately after resolving an attack in which it destroyed a living or enemy.
Right. Okay.
It can be placed. So it's no longer has to be within your combat. And that was like I guess that's just like a finesse thing, right? So assault is before your combat action, so you couldn't Void Walk because Void Walk said it has to be as part of your combat action. Whereas they've just like tweaked it so you can. So you assault in, and then you can bounce off it, which is fair. I think their changes are fairly balanced and reasonable. To be fair, I wouldn't complain about it. With that change, so they actually can Void Walk. It seems all right. And then what else we got? We're just down to the things that we've seen already. Gatsby's lost an armor point and lost Bloodthirst. But he's also swapped Flicker for Vanish. So
which is big.
We saw him being reined in, and then he's got Vanish instead of Flicker. So he's got an extra point of threat back, which is
a threat.
A threat and for cheaper. So Vanish was 2 for a 2-inch extension, and Vanish is 1 for a 3-inch extension. So it only affects him, not the bots. But I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think he's still good enough. I'll definitely see plenty of table time, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. And then as we go through the rest of it, it's like some points here and there. Captain Sam McCoy and the Devil Dog has gone down by 4 points. That's like a good chunk. Would people play them?
I mean, with the changes to Windstorm, they can actually shoot their guns in a lot of lists.
And talking about guns, right? I'm going to jump straight in. Booby 1 and Co, because it's the unit, 5 points cheaper, and Boomhowler and the Grunts all get shooting gallery. Like,
oh god!
Yeah, right.
Better.
So that's a really big, nice buff for them, as well as a big points reduction. So
yeah, I mean they're still Rat 4.
Yeah, I think the Rat 4 one probably
still Rat 4.
Ruby's probably be 5, right? So
yeah, but going up a little bit, Cross 1 has also got Discombobulate. Discombobulate. He's also got Discombobulate. Just Discombobulate.
Discombobulate.
Yeah, he's got that.
Yeah.
Discombobulate.
Yeah. So you can take a Cross 1 in your mercs list and get your back strikes out of your other guys.
Yeah.
And obviously we talked about the other week how Press Gangers have got the new version of Seduction. The Cephalix Dominators have got the new got Seduction 2, so the 3-inch Seduction. So that's some nice buffs for them. And then there's various, couple of points here, a couple of points there. Seems okay. Anything interesting? So you mentioned earlier, actually, Matt, about the Kiazes.
Yeah. Ooh. Now. Yeah, the Kiaze underboss gains. They cut tactics duelists. They gain duelists, and they gain Shadow Dance.
And
so when a model,
interesting.
So the unit itself goes down by 3 points and gets duelist as well.
Yeah, so the model gains duelist, but they gain Shadow Dance, Tactic Shadow Dance. And if a model with Shadow Dance kills an enemy model, when a model with Shadow Dance hits an enemy model, hits, immediately after the attack is resolved, you can place another model in its unit completely within 3 inches of the placed model's current position.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is interesting. That is fun. You can teleport Kiaze around.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
That is very cool.
So you take Cross, and then you send your Kiazes in, who then Shadow Dance into back arcs, for instance.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
In this unit, movement inches of the place model's current position.
Then.
Yeah.
So
I think there's too many places in that.
So Mercs have come out okay. I don't think they've come out particularly strong or particularly weak. I think they've just done alright.
Mercs basically just took a hit with the Archon nerfs, and with the Blockader was probably the biggest nerf to Mercs.
Yeah, probably.
So I think overall Mercs actually took a hit just between Riot Quest, Archons, and the Blockader.
Yeah.
And Gaspy. But I don't think unreasonable. My feeling is they're still in a good space.
Yeah.
How do you feel as a Merc player, though?
Well, I was always a Merc on the side. It was basically I was a Merc player in only as far as what would I play with Aurora 2. So I kind of I dipped my toe in a little bit. I've got like an Ostrom list. I could probably put together some others, but I didn't go too far. But I think they're okay. I think there's plenty of options. There's a bunch of points that'll free up. A bunch of models like Jackwise and units and solos who are still interesting. And obviously Mercs have always had such a wealth of choice that now they'll just be able to fit some more of those interesting models into the lists. So yeah. I think they can do okay.
Yeah.
And then the last bit we've got was the theme revision. So we'll just go through the Warmachine ones that actually matter. There's not a lot of things. Obviously, we've said about Gun Mage models, gaining Pistolier in Sons of the Tempest. Like let's have a look. It's very little is changing. Obviously, we know the Bedfellows one is about the Angels, but you basically just jig your points around and don't see much difference.
Sons of the Tempest can take Rangers now.
I was going to say that's one of the interesting changes.
The big thing is that all of the 6-point models are no longer requisitions.
Yes, 6 and 7
that's
points.
That's a really big deal.
So
that's with the exception of the Umbral Guardian, is still a 6-point model that is still a 6-point model that is a requisition option.
You lucky things.
Unless it's dropped to 5 points.
No, there were no drops, didn't there? Were there?
No. It's still 6. So the Umbral somehow.
For now.
No, it didn't even sneak under the radar. They specifically added the Umbral Guardian to the requisition option.
Yeah. So
it was specifically added.
Yeah. So one sad thing though is that you can't take Butcher 4 as a rec choice in Cader anymore.
Yeah. Good.
Very sad.
Good.
That's good. You know what? A lot of the 6-point solos were really, really strong, and you should actually be making the choice: do I want this? Don't I? Not just I have 3 of these blank cards. Let's take.
Yeah, good cat saying
the strongest shit I can for them.
Yeah, good cat in Twitch saying that does it make a big deal? You just pick the 5.1. Yeah. So basically, it's just like list tweaking, right? And where a lot of the
yeah,
a lot of your
it
lists
sort of is.
Gain like 5 points potentially. You can.
It's not quite. I would say a lot of the 6-point solos that came out, they all started coming out at a point where those 6-point solos were really undercosted at 6 points.
Yeah.
You look at things like even in Crix, the whipping boy of Mark III. Axiara Wraithblade is way too good for 6 points.
Yeah, potentially.
You look in Infernals, Regner is way too good for 6 points.
But you just take your rec choice becomes one of your 5-point things instead, so you only effectively pay an extra point.
Only if you were playing that many solos. Yeah. Most Infernals were playing that many solos, so it doesn't make a big difference.
You're definitely fine.
But in most factions, you were pretty tight. You wanted every Warjack you could get, or the likes. You weren't taking that many solos that it's an easy switch around.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, we'll see how it pans out. I guess. I think other themes that have changed across the board. All of the Menoth themes can now take 3 racks. Which is good.
Yeah, it used to be 1 rack.
Yeah, which is a silly thing. Yeah. Give it some sort of worth. Behemoth gets added to Armored Core. Which is nice. Also, we saw the Wolves of Winter change about the apparition tokens. Deathjack gets added to Dark Host, which is tasty. This is a big one for potential Retribution lists. Is Forges of War can now include non-character warjacks. So it's changed from Shail non-character warjacks to non-character warjacks. So you can play both sorts of Retribution jacks can now be played in Forges of War. I believe you can still take Discordia as a separate thing, because there's no minus saying Discordia's been removed. So I think it's a correction to the restriction of Shail and Vire. So that's cool if that's the case.
Right.
Anything else that's been changed particularly? Destruction Initiative gets Destructron 3000 as he gains. He's a wreck point, and you can take him in the army because you couldn't before. So, hooray! Hammer Strike can now take Gudrun in any of his forms rather than just Gudrun the Wasted. So I guess that's just an update that was missing. Kingmaker's army for Mercs can take any of the Boom Howlers. And Soldiers.
There's only one of these I really care about, but we're going to speak about that tomorrow, which is Circle. The rest are kind of meaningless.
Soldier's Fortune loses Alexia, Mistress of the Witchfire, and Stannis Brocker, which is interesting. Not sure where that comes from. And then is that all of the mercenary lists? I think it might be.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the lot. So we've gone through all of the Warmachine side. Obviously, we've gone past the 2 hour mark, so we don't want to be here too much longer. So I will update this. We'll try and get out as a podcast version tonight before I go to bed. I'll get it uploaded onto YouTube overnight, and then we'll be back tomorrow. So if you're are you up for some more, Evan? I'm free tomorrow night. My Friday is aside. We'll try and get someone else to come and chat about some Hordes models. See who's happy about their Hordes updates. So I think overall though,
if he's not working, see if we can drag Harrison in. He can gush about Circle.
Sure we can find one happy Hordes player.
Yes, I'm sure we can definitely find a lot of happy Circle player, and I guess other stuff. But so I think Signar seems to have done okay. Menoth have done very nicely. Kado have done very well. Crix, not so much. Convergence, not so much. Crucible Guard, not really, and Infernals, but as expected. Retribution have done very, very well, and Mercs have done meh. All right. So so the clear winners for me are Menoth, Kador, Ret, and Signar have done okay. I think that's.
Yeah, I'd second that. Yeah.
So let us
know. And clearly, I think the clear losers here are Crix
and Convergence,
and Infernals.
Yeah. I'll
Infernals have not done well,
despite you've had the handicap for a while for Infernals, but people will start hating.
Fair enough.
People will start hating Infernals by Mark 5. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Look, I mean, they're frustrating as hell to play into if you don't have the right answers. So, I'll take that on board.
So, thanks everyone that's been watching. If you've been chatting to us, asking questions. So we've blitzed through as much as we can in one night, and we're back tomorrow night to do the Horde side. So, thank you very much. Don't forget you can follow, subscribe, lick the social media gods, and we'll be back tomorrow to Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg's will feeding the mob. But I think it's I think overall though we're looking pretty good. I think there's a lot of winners and a lot of nice changes, and hopefully we'll be back tomorrow.
What would be nice is if we move through it slightly quicker tomorrow.
It's a lot
we can get through a bit of an We can get a bit of an overview and what we think the net effect of it is. Which I think will be a lot more more interesting as well.
So that's going to be the plan. So don't forget, we'll aim for me and Evan will have a chat, and we'll aim for maybe 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock tomorrow UK time. And
But
then
we'll aim for 8, and we'll let the vagaries of fate screw us over.
We have kids and are at the mercy of such spawn. And then we're both going to be on another podcast on the weekend as well. So, I'll best check with the guys, and then we can give some info out about that. But it's a busy weekend with the update dropping, which is cool. And next week we have Faye's going to come and join us on our Friday show to talk about the updates and what it means for the game, and basically we're going to grill her about what's happening and.
Well, I'm quite excited about that as well.
I think it's been like a really well done bit of like support for the community. You know, it's lots of changes that people were clamoring out for, and it's really hyped a lot of people up as well.
They've managed the communication and the interaction really well. They've really managed the engagement in a way that frankly Privateer has dropped the ball on for a couple of years. They've picked it up and managed really well. So credit where credit's due. I love seeing that. Yeah.
So there you go. So lots of stuff to look forward to. So tomorrow, do this weekend, and then next week's show. So I'll leave you with that. So thanks for joining us, and see you tomorrow for the next half. This exciting hype train bullshit. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.